If you're Asian, then you should know that there's a definite push from the parents to the kids to get their kid into medical school or become a doctor. That is permeating, at least through the Asians who immigrate to the US, especially the Chinese subdivision of Asians. The reason why I wouldn't put this on all Asians, like mainland China Asians, is because that's the entire population. Like most of them will just be fine with whatever they can get. But for some reason, most of the ones that immigrate, I guess it's because of the reason they immigrated is because these are the Asians who have the passion and dedication to strive to become the best. And these immigrate over to the US. And you should know this. If you live in the United States or you are American, this is a common stereotype, a very common sort of vibe that is almost made fun of at times or just mentioned a lot. It's very very common. And yeah, it's tough. But it makes sense though. If you look at the top paying jobs, doctor is on top. In fact, I recently just looked at it last night, and of the top 20 paying highest paying salaries, 10 of them were some sort of doctor, medical related field. Surgeon, anesthesiologist is number one on like all the charts, etc., etc. And this is just a very common thing. And quite frankly, I am kind of jealous of the kids who are just from a very early on age not smart enough, blatantly not smart enough to even pursue medical school. And I bumped into an Asian friend quite recently, like 2 days ago, who fell into this category. He had decided, like it was very obvious, and it happens quite a lot. It caused a lot of heartache for his family probably when he got B's and C's in high school and middle school. But in the long run, he might have came out ahead because from a very early age, his parents realized this and they accepted it. And now he's studying to be an accountant, and his parents are just good. But you can always see that twinge of unease when I mention that I'm applying to med school. And I also envy the Asian kids who apply to med school and are interested in it. They really want to go. They really think this is a great field. They'll be completely content if they make it. And for me, that's just not the case. I don't know why. It's just, I guess, for me, I've always hated needles. Getting shots was a horrid thing for me. I would scream, kick, run away from the place whenever I got a flu shot. And so I guess from a very early on age, I had a sort of, you know, negativity towards doctors. And I'm sure a lot of Asian kids can relate. I've had parents who would constantly talk throughout my childhood of doctors. I remember my mom would constantly talk about it. She would talk about how it's the highest paying job, how you should become a doctor. And I see it in my sisters too. They being in elementary school still have somehow all been brainwashed. I have three of them to pursue being a doctor or a lawyer. And I've constantly held in bad sort of perceptions of this and fought with my parents. But quite recently, about like a few days ago, after 20 years of my life, I've realized, is this really a bad thing? Like all my life I've had fights with my parents on this, but they quite honestly just want a their child to live a profitable life, and they ascribe a certain level of happiness to money, and there's no two ways about this. Money is a big part of this. I mean, making money as a doctor is a huge part. And so basically, here is where I stand. I've volunteered at the hospital, and I've, for some reason, just done all this stuff, you know, studying to become a doctor, taking the MCAT, which is like the standardized test for medical school, all this stuff. And here's one thing that a lot of Asians will never admit. So, if you are like one of those, I would say, interviewers who let people into med school, I think you're gonna get let pass. A lot of people who fall into this category, they don't really like the field, but they're faking it because at the end of the day they're content enough with the field that they're willing to do this for money. I mean, I can see it in their eyes. I mean, I've been pre-med for 3 years now in college, and I've taken all the classes, and sure, the class size is whittled down as people have been sort of weeded away in a way. And despite the people who remain, I can see it in their eyes. The difference is that they have the hard work and dedication to make it through, but I can see it in a good portion of their eyes. Some I can't, because I mean they really love the field. I know for a fact just by looking at their eyes. But a lot of them, I can see in their eyes that they're not really into this med school stuff. Sure, they don't hate it, but you can tell that there's definitely a push from their parents, and that they want to become doctors, like or not, for the money or whatever other means. And is that really a bad thing? I mean, if they can do the practice, then everyone wins, right? I mean, who cares if they're really into the field? And I mean, they're idealists in this world, and people who have modern views. But at the end of the day, most of society is ingrained in traditional roots, and they want, you know, like or not, money. And so I see in a lot of these people's eyes, and they're not all Asian, okay? I see Indians, white people, all ethnicities. This sort of coldness in their eyes. And I can tell, when, like, a common sort of conversation with these types of people goes something like, we get into, like, what are your passions? Do you want to go to med school? Why do you want to go into med school? That's just a common sort of topic of conversation among these students. And when we somehow end up talking about this, like, I don't go to class looking to talk about this. It's just what comes up when you meet someone new. Well, for sure, it takes one to know one. These people, they just don't have a huge inclination. For me, it's different. It's different in that I'm unique in that I will blatantly admit it to you straight up, okay? With code, and I guess that's just through my interest in self-development, and I guess just all these modern idealistic perceptions that I've sort of taken in. I'm very upfront and a straight shooter now, and I wasn't before. And I guess it's through self-help and just self-development books, and not really books, but like internet stuff that I've read. And I guess I'm just, very blatant. I'll be like, I, I don't really know about med school. I'm not really into, needles and stuff like that. And I see in a lot of Asians and a lot of people just what I would have been had I not been into self help. I'd be the exact same, except that I would not admit this. I would fake it like a lot of them are doing, but I can see it in their eyes. They don't really want this. I would faking it, and I'd be like, oh yeah, I'm really into med school. I want to go to med school, and then it's fake. You can see that they're not really passionate about this. And a lot of kids have sort of convinced themselves, they've forced themselves to take on this idea that their parents have implanted. They've convinced themselves that this is their passion. And the reason why I know it's not is because they show no real passion in it. There's this sort of deadness in their eyes. The sort of deadness in this passion. I mean, you'll see them like, you know, studying for MCAT. I mean, I know this one girl for sure. It's a sort of indifference she has, and towards the whole thing, and yet she's applied to med school. She's done her work for it. She's studied hard, gotten good grades, all for this, and I can see this deadness in her eyes. It's just like she doesn't have the happiness or passion that she claims she has when she's doing other stuff. When she's, you know, dancing to a song. When she's really into whatever activity she's really into, whether it be like a video game or something else. And I mean, that is just how it works nowadays. Uh, and I see it in others too. They'll be like, there's this guy. It seems like, he's traveling to Africa and all these places, and he's doing it for med school experience to apply, and now he's gotten into med school and he's about to graduate. And I see he's talking about like, what, you're not passionate about med school? How? And he's like, you have to be. He's like, that's not the way for me. He's saying like, you shouldn't talk like that. That's not a very good way to think if you want to go to med school. And he's saying all this stuff, and in my mind I'm calling bullshit. Like, look at you, okay? Look at you. I don't see any real passion from you. Like, your whole sort of facial expression, your whole body language is very, very cold and dead in a way. I mean, you claim all this stuff about helping others and this passion, and then I don't see it in your face, in your body language at all. It's sort of dead, and I can tell, guarantee you, there's some push from your parents to do this, a big push. And I see it a lot, and I don't know, maybe it's just this brainwashing with this new modern idealistic sort of American sort of thought where you choose this sort of fairy tale image where you choose the job that you want to do, and then you do it, and then you, through hard work, get to the top and make millions of dollars. And before, moments ago, that was never I never called that a fairy tale thing. That was something I believed in, the American way of life. Sort of, choose your passions, and then just go from there. Choose your passions and choose the career you want and go from there. But I mean, looking at it from a practical standpoint, I mean, what if all you like to do are video games and, drugs or something like that? All you like to do is go to nightclubs and dance the night away. Well, let's say your interests are music or something else, and you want to make it big in the acting industry or the music industry. Well, in the real world, the truth of the matter is there's millions that all want to do the same thing, and the competition is fierce, and the average median salary for those is low, and the probability of getting those high-end millionaire sort of high star jobs is very low. It's very, very low. And so this, I mean, it makes sense, you know. Med school makes sense to them. It's a it's a higher chance. And I guess the main thing for me would be the idealistic idea of getting a dream job where you really, really enjoy and at the same time make millions of dollars above average. That's a highly above average salary. And I mean, that's just not the case in real life anymore. When you look into a real world, I mean, the highest average salary is like 300,000, and that's anesthesiologist. 300K roughly average median salary per year. And it's far from a million per year. And it's different. It's different. Life's different. It shows that once you get into real world, like, you're most likely going to fall into the majority category, which is roughly around less than 50,000 per year. I mean, the top. I looked at a list yesterday, a few lists, and the top 20 jobs. It starts at 300K per year median, and it falls down to around 100K per year median. So that's top 20 jobs, and you're already down to 100K. So the majority of people, they're working at under roughly around 100K. Probably the huge bell curve, the majority would be around 50K, if not less, per year. And so these idealistic, sort of naive dreams of millions per year is highly unlikely. To get that, you'd have to have a lot of talent and a lot of luck. And quite honestly, I mean, movie star, actress, singer, those, even if you do like 1 in a million chance to get those, it's not that great, okay? It exposes you to a life of drugs, paparazzi, lack of privacy, lack of security, sort of boosted sort of ego, which can lead to a lot of side effects that might be even worse. But I've kind of rambled for quite a while, and I don't really know where it's going to lead. It's definitely not like most of my videos are, which are very structured. So I'm going to upload this. It's going to be a sort of rambling, and then maybe if I can get my head together, one day I'll upload something more structured. And so if you've actually watched all this, sorry for this sort of unclearness, but the basic idea is, I've been on this path to med school for quite a while, and it's quite clearly something that's cut out through the Asian tradition. I mean, it's no surprise that a lot of my mom's Asian friends, their children just seem to be on the same exact path, applying to med school. And I would say almost all of them. It's ridiculous. Like, I know dozens along the same path. And it's very, very strange. And it's to a point where it's kind of like just the whole thing where like all Asians play piano, violin, or viola. It's like, there's no way, no matter what my mom says, because she's always saying, you choose your own career path, you do your own thing. It's something that for sure every Asian parent is pushing the students along, their children along, if they are capable. And I guess I just hang around a high crowd of smart people, maybe, maybe not. But at least from what I can see, it's kind of what it's like. And so I I don't know. I'm not really into this anymore, and I don't know if you could say fortunately or unfortunately, but my grades haven't been keeping up with this competition. And the scariest part is that had my grades been able to keep up, I might have been spurred down a road to med school. You know, fake the fake smile that's gotten a lot of Asians in, and continue along this path and ended up with a career that maybe I didn't enjoy. But at the same time, maybe that's just an excuse because my grades have fallen. I know a lot of med school students while watching this, if they do watch it, they'll be like, great, less competition for me. Another student's dropped out. I don't know, it's a weird world, and I guess what's kind of skewed it up is this sort of American dream sort of idea that your final job should be one that you're absolutely passionate about and one that you really enjoy, and that doesn't really correlate well with one that makes a lot of money. And I don't know where this is headed, but yeah, most likely my thoughts will be different because I am in like a heated emotional state right now. So once I calm down a bit, I don't know. I'm still gonna upload this, but they definitely still hold grains of truth and grains of information, but it's very unstructured. This is not a prepared video or anything like that. So yeah, if you want the true story, you know, wait until I calm down and release a structured video on my thoughts. So see you guys later. Thanks for watching.